There are no failures, just helpful information to learn from.
Expanding possibilities, the mindset zone.
I'm your host, Ana Melikian, and before we start, please remember to visit mindset.zone. Yes, instead of .com, it's .zone to access all the episodes and other amazing resources, all at mindset.zone. And if you want to get the free chapter of my book, Mindset Zone, please go to mindset.zone/book. Today, I'm going to dedicate this episode to my p.i.e method, that is a simple 3-step approach that will allow you to amplify your impact while avoiding the burnout. And is based on this simple acronym p.i.e. P.I.E. So let's start by experiencing the P of the p.i.e method with a mini exercise. And if you are listening while driving, please just pause this episode and restart when you have your hands free and you can do this. It's a 30-second exercise. So please grab something that you can write with, then write the word reactive, all in caps. REACTIVE. So the word reactive. Now pause a moment and find the letter C between the A and the T. Great. Move that C to the beginning of the word. And what word do you have now? Yes, you see, you made a small shift that creates a big change. A small, simple shift can create a meaningful transformation. One of the keys to amplify your impact without burning out is to learn to stop being reactive and stay more in the creative mode. Another word we can use is proactive. And the key is to learn to press the pause. That is the P of the p.i.e method. P is for pause. And maybe you are familiar with this quote: between a stimulus and a response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. Powerful. I'm going to say it again. Between a stimulus and a response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. The challenge is to press the pause button that allows us to see that space that gives us the power to choose our response, especially when circumstances are tough. We need to learn to press this pause button in order to respond to life challenge without reacting and without falling into old habits. When we do this, we give ourselves the opportunity to be more proactive and respond effectively. And we can train and strengthen the capacity of pressing this pause button as we will do to a muscle. Pauses can be very powerful. And if you want to be effective in pressing the pause button when you need it most in that microsecond after something that triggers you, you have to start by training your mental muscle. It's like going to the gym to get your muscles, physical muscles strong. You have to create occasions and activities to strengthen our mental muscles. And you can start with what I call the scheduled pauses. So you can create moments that you are going to stop and you are going to do something that allows you to train your muscles of your mental fitness. Can be something like just a simple breathing exercise, just a simple reflection about something that triggered you during the day, or if you like journaling, can be a journaling exercise or a gratefulness practice. Anything that allows you to stop and reflect and be in the moment is one way of strengthening your mental muscles. It's these scheduled pauses that really allow you to be ready when you need most. And you also have other type of pauses that I call the macro pauses, like working with a coach, reading a book, going to a retreat, or doing a program. These can be considered macro because we create a significant amount of time or space for learning, for becoming more self-aware. And then in the day-to-day, you practice with these scheduled pauses that can be done in a morning ritual or a mid of the day or an end of the day. That really creates the mental muscle for when you need most, you'll be able to do the micro pauses. That small moment after a stimulus that triggers you, that allows you to choose your response, to increase that space between the stimulus and response that allows you to choose. So as you become more mentally fit, you can press the pause button by simply being aware of your breathing, like slowing down the moment. And that can be what you need to create that space after the stimulus that allow you to choose your response, even when circumstances are tough. So by practicing macro and schedule pauses, we increase our capacity to do the micro pauses and be able to respond more effectively. Yes, this is inner work of self-leadership, and is a lot like fitness. We have to exercise, but we can find enjoyable ways to develop our mental fitness and become more resilient. And this takes us to the I of the p.i.e. method. So P is for pressing pause. The I is for increasing self-awareness. Most high-performance systems see the way we think and the beliefs we have as determining what we do and the results we get. And there is a lot of truth in this. Yet the reality is more complex. It's not a simple linear causation, thoughts, feelings, behaviors. If it were that simple, gaining a new insight or becoming aware of a thought pattern will be enough to change our feelings and behaviors, and we painfully live the reality that is not that easy. Insights are not enough to sustain lasting change. Wouldn't it be great if an inspiring TED Talk was enough to change us? Yes, it can ignite a spark that leads to change. Seeing an inspirational speech, reading an amazing book can ignite the spark that leads to change. But there are more moving parts involved in the process of creating lasting change. I love mindset work. You are listening to my podcast, The Mindset Zone. And I will declare here that mindsets are not the be-all, end-all. Yes, by changing our beliefs and the way we see the world makes a huge difference. But we need to do more. Many times it's what we do that determines the way we think and feel. For instance, you are stuck stuck with a problem and you are really banging your head against the wall and not finding a solution, in that moment, the best thing that you can do is go outside for a walk in nature or go and take a shower. Do something. Because doing one of these activities can help us feel more relaxed, more in tune with nature and our bodies, and this open our minds to new ideas and possibilities. So, instead of seeing your thoughts, feelings, behaviors in a linear way, I would like to invite you to see them in a triangle, a form with three sides. If a triangle loses one of its sides, it ceases to exist. I even invite you to form a triangle with your hands. Then you can imagine that one side of this triangle represents your thoughts, another side, your feelings, and the third side, your actions or behaviors. We need all these three dimensions, and if we become aware of how they interplay with each other, we can expand our possibilities. This triangle allows us to increase our self-awareness. Which is easier for you to notice? For some people, it will be their thoughts, others, their feelings or their actions. For instance, through nurture, I have become very, very good, what we call the neck up person. I'm very aware of my thoughts and all my mental chatter, including my inner critical voices. I'm also very high in implementation and action. It takes me a bit more effort to be aware of how I feel at the moment. I know others who are very much in touch with their feelings, aware of their emotions, and have more challenge in articulating what is going on inside their heads, their thoughts, and their belief systems. If you use our triangle, becoming aware of what is easier for you, it's the smartest strategy to use. This is your starting point. And you can always ask yourself how one dimension affects the others and how you can play and experiment with them. And that takes us to the E of the p.i.e method. E for experimentation. So P for pause, for pressing the pause. I for increasing self-awareness using our triangle. And the E for embracing experimentation, this experimentation mindset. It's important to embrace this experimentation mindset because when you are doing an experiment, all the outcomes are welcome. All is information that allows us to learn. If we don't get an expected result, that can be very enlightening. There are no failures, just helpful information to learn from. Keep in mind that when the rubber meets the road, it's easier to go back to old patterns of doing, feeling, and thinking. And the illusion that change is a linear process and that relapsing into old patterns is a failure are some of the dynamics preventing real positive change from becoming our new normal. For instance, you decide to experiment with creating a scheduled pause to start your workday. Maybe you even have bookmarked on your web browser a breathing exercise to practice when you sit in front of your computer. Wonderful! You do it, and you become aware of how that makes you feel. Does it bring you more clarity to your day? Does it help you to be more focused? The next day, you forget to do that scheduled pause. Please be gentle with yourself. Don't let your inner critical take over. Now you have more information to increase your self-awareness and try again. my invitation to you is to embrace the messiness that change almost always brings. So here, you can take a moment to create a pause, to increase your self-awareness, and then pick something to experiment with. This simple method can make all the difference. Just try it. For instance, you are listening to a podcast. That can be a pause. That can be a way for you to do it. Schedule a pause listening to the Mindset Zone podcast. But then create a little space afterwards to reflect, to increase your self-awareness about what thoughts emerges, feelings, behaviors, and how they interplay with each other. Remember, use the triangle. Whatever is easy for you is the starting point, and then see how they affect each other. So, P for pause, I for increasing the self-awareness, and if a great idea comes, a new thought or something that you like to play with, embrace the experimentation, the E of the p.i.e method. Because for this experimentation mindset allows you to be more playful and to reframe failures. There are no failures from this perspective, just new helpful information to learn from. I would love to hear from you how you play and experiment with the p.i.e method to unlock your human potential. Go on and increase your impact out there. Expand what's possible for you, for the ones around you, and for the world.
Expanding possibilities. The mindset.
Thank you for listening, and remember to visit mindset.zone. Yes, instead of .com, it's .zone. There you can find all the episodes and other amazing resources, all at mindset.zone. And if you want to get a free chapter of my book, Mindset Zone, please go to mindset.zone/book. As always, I'm so grateful you are here. Expand what's possible for you, for the ones around you, for the world.